Alright, so I've got absolutely no plan at the moment. I've had a weird weekend and I got this new lens and I really want to test it out, so I'm just going to take off walking and see what comes of it.
I've been on a vibe kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I'm never so packed for the stack, never lied on the rap.
Alright, so I'm walking to LACMA. My weekend's really been all over the place, and I managed to pick up this new lens with a 16mm f1.4 from my Fujifilm XF, which is a crop sensor, so it's basically a 24mm equivalent. And I purchased it to help do videos like this at night, because it has a wide aperture. I can cut through some of it, because it doesn't perform as well as my Canon R6 does. But anyway, since LACMA was within walking distance and I was bored, I figured I would come down here and give it a try. I was itching to make some video content too. I haven't had time this week, so I'm doing it now, and I'm gonna see how this performs as a wide-angle lens at LACMA during golden hour. I don't really expect too much right now because it was just such a random trip, but we'll see if anything good comes out of these photos. Alright, so I took a quick detour because I've always loved the way that Wilshire and Fairfax glows during golden hour. So I took a quick left turn over here, and I'm going to walk over to the Peterson Automotive Museum and see if I can get some gold reflections off of the silver parts of the building while the sun's setting here. Take a look. Alright, so I got a couple good ones. I really wish I got there a few minutes early because the sun was in the right place at the right time, but I think I got a good one. It's not bad for just a all of a sudden trip down here. Anyway, I'm walking up to the lights now and see what could come to that either. Anyway, I don't know, I just did a panning shot of this little area real quick. I don't know if any of you have seen the trailers for the TV show La Brea, but this whole area pretty much it collapses into a giant sinkhole. Probably has something to do with the tar pits over here. Don't know. How about that falcon? Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked, and now I'm going to the bathroom because I drank too much before I walked over here. I'm about to pee my pants. So we're going to do that, then we'll get to the lights. Alright, this is such a hopping spot all the time that it's really hard to ever get a good photo here. Unless you come really early before sunset, or like really early in the morning, or like 2 a.m., you're not going to get a shot with the lights on and nobody in the frame. But that's okay. I mean, it's like the most Instagrammable spot, one of the most Instagrammable spots in the world. They've done a really nice job with this museum, both in and out. Well, I think in. I haven't been in yet, and I have no excuse. I need to go in there. I have no excuse. It's free after 3 p.m. for LA residents, and I live within walking distance, but I still haven't been in yet. Anyway, how about that falcon, man? I saw it tied up to that. I almost feel bad for it. It's kind of cruel. Like, I didn't see the falconeer or anything anywhere near it, but it's just tied up to that post with blinders on it. I don't know, maybe it was some sort of demonstration they were doing earlier. But anyway, I'm really liking this lens so far. It's cutting through the light pretty good right now. I wouldn't really necessarily consider it low light, but we'll give that a proper test here when I walk down the street after the sun goes all the way down. So far so good though, I really like it. So, for whatever reason, this has been blocked off right in front here for as long as I've lived here. I'm not really sure why, but I'm going to take the opportunity to use this blocked out road to come all the way back here and then try to do a long exposure of this spot with all the people walking around. I'm not sure how long I can do an exposure because some of them aren't moving at all and some of them are moving a lot. So the ones that are moving a lot may not show up. The ones that aren't moving very much may not cause much blur, but how awesome would it be to have this shot with, like, you know, just trails of people kind of looking like ghosts walking in between the lamps. It's kind of the look I'm going for. I'm not sure how we'll make it, but I'm going to try. Alright, so I'm going to attempt this shot, and in order to do this, I'm going to do maximum aperture, which I think is f16. I might drop it a little bit lower, but I'm going to do several variations of a shutter speed just to see how they turn out. If I go too long, there won't be any movement because they'll all move out of the way. If I go too short, there won't be enough movement, so I'm going to try and find a good middle ground. So I'm going to start at 15 seconds, f16, and go from there. Okay, so that shot didn't work out too well. I didn't take into consideration, like a dummy, that the lights were so bright that the best I could do is ISO 80, 3 seconds at f16. So what I did is I took a whole bunch of shots, and hopefully I'll be able to stack them together in Photoshop, and it'll give the effect I want. But in the meantime, I found this little spot here. This may be the only time, pardon me, that was a bust. This may be the only time that I am ever able to take the shot. I'm using this sort of block off to my advantage. Nobody said anything to me about standing out here yet, so I'm using it to my advantage to get this shot right here. So you can see the shot I'm talking about. That's because, I don't know, it is kind of neat having the framing with the sewer cap here, the stoplight, the Peterson in the background, the sunset, and maybe even some light trails. I'm gonna wait for a bus to come by, something that has like higher up tail lights and higher up lights to go by, and I'm gonna try and get the trail right alongside of me as if it was just whizzing past me. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure how the buses are running today, but hopefully we'll get one soon. Okay, so that shot didn't quite work out. I got some really good ones, but the problem was a bus didn't come before it got too dark, and kind of the look that I was going for wasn't there anymore. A bus did come by, I got one. We'll see if we can make it work. But anyway, I'm really happy with this lens so far. It's doing really well. Look at that bokeh. Wow, 1.4, you expect that though, right? Anyway, so far it's doing really well. And there's one more shot I'm going to get before I leave, so I'm going to do that as I cross the road here. Hopefully I don't get into any trouble because the lights are having trouble. They're not sequenced properly, so there's been people trying to cross the road all day and people honking. So anyway, I'm going to walk right over here, and I'm going to talk for a minute about how I'm going to try and get a panning shot where LACMA is recognizable in the background. Okay, so I made it across the street fine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to open the aperture up all the way to 1.4, and I'm going to keep my ISO, I'm going to vary the ISO and shutter speed. I want to try and get around 1/40th of a second. And I'm going to try and find a bus, or probably not a bus because I think a bus might be a little too tall. But we'll see, maybe an exotic car will come by, something interesting. If not, I'll just practice it on a regular car. But I'm going to try and get somewhere around 1/40th, 1/50th, maybe 1/30th of a second shutter speed. Wide open aperture at 1.4 with, I don't know what the ISO is going to be, but anyway, I'm going to try and get it right here. I'm going to stand right near this crosswalk, maybe in between here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get it in focus right about this point right here, so you can recognize that this is LACMA where the panning shot is taking place. And so I've tried it a few times in the past, and that's actually something that's pretty hard to do. I mean, at least with an interesting vehicle. There was one time I had to hurry to get my settings dialed in, but I almost got a police car with its lights on, and that would have been just fantastic. I don't expect that tonight, but we're gonna try. Alright, so I got some okay stuff. I got a few. I got quite a lot. The challenge was that finding something interesting while traffic was moving both ways, where they cross paths, sometimes proved difficult because one would get in the way of the other that you were focused on. And for anyone who doesn't really know what panning is, I'll try and explain it to you. You can see the examples from the photos that I posted, but basically the easiest way for a beginner to do it is turn on continuous autofocus, do one more than spot focusing. So you don't want to do single point autofocus, but you want to do the next one that's a little bit bigger. And then try to lock onto a hood of the car, and as it moves by you, try to match the speed with your camera in your hands like this and click the shutter. Now, not every time is going to be success, but you'll get it eventually, and you'll get a few. And like me, I still don't get that many. It's proven difficult to me a few times, but anyway, I got a few there, and the settings were, I was wide open at f1.4. I was using ISO 320, which is the minimum I need for the dual native ISO in my Fujifilm camera to kick on, and I was doing about 1/30th of a second. So anyway, I'm on my way home now, but while I was here, I just stopped and I saw, you gotta check out this moon. Just looks fantastic right now. It's just like pink. It's just amazing. So anyway, I'm gonna change lenses, get a few shots of that, then I'm gonna keep going. Alright, so I'm not really sure how those are gonna turn out, but we will soon find out. The moon looked really good, and I didn't really have the right lenses. I wasn't really prepared for that shot, so I didn't bring the right lenses. But anyway, this lens is doing really well. It's very dark right now, at least for the camera, and an APS-C sensor at that. But I'm walking down the sidewalk here, trying to watch my step because there's bumps here, cracks. I want to break my ankle. But anyway, this lens, it does pretty good. I can't think of too many circumstances where I would be doing this while it's this dark out, but it's doing this. It's at 12,800 ISO, f1.4. It doesn't look too noisy. It probably will when I get in to process it, but it is letting light in quite a bit faster than my old lens, so it may not be as noisy. It might be easier to work with, but we'll find out. Also, before I go, I really need to watch my step, because look at the sidewalks here. Yeah, so if I'm just paying attention to the camera, I might break my ankle. Don't want that either. So anyway, random I know, but I just wanted to share that. So anyway, I'm going to resume this when I get back home. Is it just me, or is it really just not that time of year yet? The disturbing thing is, that's not the only one. There's one right here too. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Christmas, but it's August. Hello! Hey baby girl, do you need to go potty? Go ahead. Good girl. What a good girl. You're such a good dog. Somebody's happy. Daddy's home. Give me that toy. Good catch. Alright, so I'm home. I made it back in one piece. The dog is super excited. And what do I do with my tripod? Give me just a second while I look for my tripod. Okay, so now I'm back home and I found my tripod and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm going over some pictures and stuff. But anyway, I'm back home, one piece. What do you think? Not bad for a spur of the moment adventure that I decided to go on by myself because I really wanted to make a video. I told myself I have to try. Even if I don't put this out or whatever, I still have to get in the habit of once a week. Otherwise, nothing's ever going to come of this. It'll be all for nothing. And I really enjoy it too. I was kind of itching to use this new lens and get out there and do it. But this is also the first time that I've gone out with nothing but my X-T4 to do both photo and video. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the Fuji X system. A lot of people knock on it because it's an APS-C sensor. It's a smaller sensor, but I haven't come across any negatives yet. Yeah, sure, it doesn't do as great in low light, but Fuji does make great lenses, and like this one, they're pretty fast. You can get f2s, you can get 1.4s. Some of them are only 2.8 and 4, but for the most part, you can get almost every lens they make in an f2 or an f1.4, which is plenty fast for low light. And with the dual native ISO, you don't really have to worry too much. It works. But then again, I'm not exclusively a photo first person, but I think that this is a great hybrid camera. You get a lot of control over the video, there's a lot of control over the photo, and it just performs really well. And it's considerably smaller than most of the full frame mirrorless cameras. It's a lot cheaper, as are the lenses, and the quality is just there. It's great. So anyway, since this is the first time on the X-T4, let me know what you think. Did you notice a difference? Was it bad, good, noisier, less noisy? Okay, so I just dumped some of the footage here, and I'm looking at it. It's not that bad. It's a little noisy, but I don't think anyone, or at least no one will really care. It's not that big of a deal. But I surprised myself on a solo mission here, and I actually took way more photos than I remember. And there's a lot of video here, so I'm gonna get to putting this together, and then I'm gonna go to sleep because I have to work in the morning. And so I need to get a good night's rest and get up and work and